moved on the side of Legacy, and Nautilus taken away. Of course, Swiper playing that 3 games in a row against Sin. He's going to have to change it up.
Yeah, and on the flip side, I guess, Graves also being played once by a Tally.
Yeah,
and
true.
there was a reason that it was only played once.
12, 1 and 5?
Yes,
My
it was
God.
banned before and after because you do not let him have it.
And it's basically 3 top lane bans there for the Chiefs to start things off. These are 3 champions Tally has played in the past and really carried on. Yes, Choose can play maybe GP in there as well, but Tally's been the star of the team, especially in playoffs. Makes sense that Chiefs are going to target him here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of big questions we have to ask about that is what is Tally actually going to play? Because that's most of his champions now. Of course, he can flex with Lissandra, Lulu, things like that, but he wants to beat Swiper. Those are just control mages.
Yeah, it's exactly right. But look at what's left open. I mean, Civ is there. There's the Golden Chicken in the Azir, who's also available if they do want to pick that one up. But Lulu's up, Kallista's up. There are so many champions here that both the Chiefs and Legacy can pick up. Of course, Swiper shouting out his favorite champion, but we'll see exactly what they lock in for first pick.
Swiper having a bit of fun here, I think. That's,
that's
the champion
what
that Tally famously slayed Radio on in a semi-final. Trundle was the last ban as well, so that's potential another top laner, but more support taken away. For me, it is that champion.
Oh, yes.
That is the other one left between them.
Yeah,
I mean, there was a lot.
That makes a lot of sense. There's no other champion that Swiper needs to play. Take it from Tally. That's his power pick now gone.
The golden combination has been locked in. So Legacy, they've taken away so much of this consistent damage in their mid and bottom lane. Of course, Cardred, no stranger to Siva. Of course, no stranger to Legacy either.
Yeah, absolutely. Cardred, having played with the team historically, and picking up Siva makes a lot of sense, being what is defined as a janitorial AD carry, being able to pick up kills on the backline with the W, ricochet to everybody and just hit that backline and shred them down, whilst Azir does the exact same thing. So I will say, based off the carries locked in from Legacy so far, their range is extraordinary.
Yeah, Civ is just such a good champion, and we've seen what Radiant and the Chiefs do when they get a hands on it. I'm actually surprised they didn't first pick her. That's pretty common, but happy to leave it over this time.
Yeah, and look, Gragas and Braum both being locked in here by the Chiefs. So Spooks on a champion that he's phenomenal on, to be perfectly honest, and he can really get around the map and help out his team with the likes of Gragas. Just so much utility.
Yeah,
Not
Gragas.
to mention Braum.
Exactly. Gragas a very strong solo champion, very good in a 2v2 as well with Poppy. Pretty hard to beat out those 2 champions. Throw Braum in the fray if they have any type of lane swap or early map movements out of the Chiefs, and that is a dynamic trio that nobody would want to mess with.
It's actually pretty interesting to me to see Spooks go to Gragas versus something like Nidalee or Kindred,
Yeah.
which are both left up. I think it tells me that he's maybe expecting to play a little bit more reactive and just keep tracks and make plays where he can, rather than aggressively get in and counter.
I think he's actually just trying to take it as well from Carbon, which is actually a big deal, because Carbon, wanting to be an engage tool for the team, can't really do that on Kindred, can't do that on Nidalee. You're actually relying on the rest of your team to do so, especially if they want to get top lane ahead. Difficult to execute.
But the Kindred is going to be locked in the hands of Carbon. And look, we've seen this combo time and time again. Having that Lamb's Respite as well as the Emperor's Divide just helps so much. And we'll see exactly how he is going to play this one out. But I actually really like Spooks picking up the Gragas away from Legacy because they want to get Tally ahead. They want to utilize this early game. Do you think having a bit more of a scaling jungle is going to hurt that?
It won't necessarily hurt it. That is actually, wow.
Whoa.
All right, we're back.
Yep, there it is.
80 carries. Lots of them.
That's a lot of poke.
Yeah, that's entirely poke. The only thing missing is perhaps, look, they've got their top laner set, they've got their mid laner and AD carry set, they've got a front line engaged, they've got block for their back line, and their 2 carries are very long range. So entirely poke. It's also been known as what beats Azir here from Swiffer, going for that Varus.
Yeah, we've seen this before from the Chiefs already into that specific mid lane matchup as well. Varus Jhin is absolutely disgusting when you pull it off, and I think the last game Chiefs played against Sin, they played this comp and made it look so easy. Like, Azir's a great pick. Azir Kindred, in my opinion, is an excellent duo, but it's going to be tough here for Choo-Choos, especially because Spooks, like you said, also is able to punish that mid lane.
So the big thing to me is that Chiefs are long range. Legacy, they're short to long range. It can vary, of course. They've got the Sivir who's close, Kindred who's close, and if they work in tandem, they do a lot of damage. But they've got Azir who is long range, but also countered by that poke. So we're looking at poke versus engage.
Oh my god. And speaking of which, the last pick here for Legacy is going to be Lissandra. A definite comfort pick there for Tally. Of course, Choo-Choos has played that one as well, but it is going to be going towards that top lane. So Legacy looking like they're getting a whole lot of comfort here in this draft.
Yeah, this is Legacy's near ideal drafting scenario. So maybe the Kindred as the small exception to that rule.
Yep.
But I think they're going to be very comfortable with that. And speaking of, I guess, going for the team composition Legacy has, Chiefs won with it in game number 1 against their opponents in the semifinals in Sin. Legacy know it works.
Yeah.
And really just reinforcing what you just said, that Legacy want to play engage. They pick another engaged champion here, giving it over to Tally. Lissandra is a big playmaker. It's not a massive carry like we've seen from Tally before on, you know, the champions that the 3 champions got banned and the one that got picked away from him. So you can see he's clearly being targeted, but it does still let Tally make plays, and that's the important thing for Legacy. He can be proactive, be annoying, and come up big when it counts, which is what Tally needs to do here.
Yeah, and this is the adaptation as well out of Legacy, because when Tally plays the Lissandra, he switches up his playstyle a whole lot. It's not necessarily about the laning phase anymore. It's about how he utilizes that teleport. And on this Lissandra, we've seen him assassinate bottom lanes over and over again. And with that top versus bottom heavy focus, could this be a problem for the Chiefs?
So that's a really cool thing that you bring up as well. Lissandra doesn't necessarily want to kill the laning opponent, right? But Lissandra is the crowd control aggressive version of Lulu, as I'd like to define it, which means, yeah, you still can kill your lane opponent. You actually have a lot of damage and crowd control, especially if Carbon comes up there to lock down Swiper, but the teleports are potent. The amount of damage that you do to carries is ridiculous. It's just about how do you get past the Braum, how do you get past the Poppy to the backline of the Chiefs and try and take out that Jhin and Varus.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. We've seen Carbon gank like Olaf lanes
with
Lissandra at least before. Like, he clearly can do it. I think Lissandra sets up Carbon's pressure really well. He's just going to have to try and convert it here, because Choose especially, it's kind of going to be a wash farm lane. In fact, he might even fall behind if Swiffer can find an edge on the poke Varus.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And look, we've seen this Varus Azir lane. Varus often picked up into it on purpose, considered a bit of a counter there, but that was played in a comp that had a Nidalee in it. That was an extra form of poke to fly through to set up the deadly flourish there from the Jhin. Now with the Gragas, is it maybe a little bit different?
They've got Disengage added with it this time around. They've also got the option of Engage, so they're not all into poke. They've recognized that Legacy, they want to fight, and that they will meet them with that fight and disengage if things go poorly.
We'll see exactly how it is going to go as we hop onto Summoner's Rift for Game 1 of the Grand Final of 2016's OPL Split 1. Chiefs versus Legacy. Chiefs are going to be on our blue side first time around. A natural place for them, of course, where they stayed throughout the semi-final versus Sin. We'll see how they take this game now with the Gragas instead of the Nidalee.
The first question that we need to bring up naturally is do we lane swap, and why do we lane swap? Now, Jhin is outranging a Sivir, especially in laning phases, so there is an opportunity that Chiefs will win the 2v2, especially if we coin in the fact that there is a Braum. As speaking of bottom lanes,
this is ridiculous, Radiant.
Having it out.
Yeah, it does have a crit ready. He's just going to shoot Regret in the face with it. He's Cardred. Nice ricochet. That's a free dancing
grenade. If the Q hits, they actually have a flash probably forced here.
Good play from Regret, going to keep him safe, but you can see just that damage. I mean, 2v2, they might not have wanted it, but they've certainly got it now.
Yeah, and the minions are here.
Exactly right. So they're just fighting until the minions get here, and they're probably going to continue fighting from then on.
That is a very awkward and unfortunate start for Legacy. Thankfully, Warlord's Bloodlust for Cardred should get him some of that health back, and Relic's Shield from Regret gives health back to both of them. They will live, but they don't have control.
Well, this lane's already rough, as you can see. Few there from Ejim poking onto Cardred. It's a tough situation for Legacy's bottom lane, but Radiant and Ejim never ever take prisoners. They love going aggressive, and if they hit 2 here, which I think they will soon, Regret actually going to get stunned.
In trouble.
There's the flash stun there from Ejim for the auto. Heal out from Cardred as he gets exhausted there as well. Good play back, but it's not quite enough to the turret. But Legacy just blow everything just to live.
This is such an awkward position for Legacy's bottom lane. I mean, there's going to be no way to get assistance from a jungler until about the 3 minutes and 30 seconds mark, unless Carbon speeds up his route and disregards a camp or two. But it's already necessary.
Well, it's very, very scary for Legacy so far. As we look across the rest of the map here in the mid lane, Swiffer doing fine against Choose. Just clearing up minions over and over again. Choose known for his aggression in the early game once he hits that level 2 mark. And Swipe here on the bottom side, struggling a little bit as far as farm is concerned, but of course nothing to worry about, as it's just the range versus melee matchup.
Yeah, early game, range versus melee. Makes a lot of sense that Choose, or Tally rather, is at least controlling. I almost said Choose because he does play it also.
True. I think we're used to seeing him play it a lot.
The junglers
does steal that away. Carbon actually going to find him, though. This is not great for Gragas, but he's going to body slam back in for it. Carbon actually getting a little low, but he's going to fight back here. Jhin almost getting him with the snare. You can see the damage that Carbon's done already. He actually face-checked Ejim's Q, as now Chuchi is going to roam up as well. The flash body slam, though, is going to get it, but Spooks is low. Looks to go down as he does. Now Swiffer going to move his way in as Truce flashes out to safety, but Swiffer's going to flash forward and take him out. Cardred is in a whole host of trouble as he almost gets stunned up. He'll juke that W, but Radiant is still firing away. Regret goes down as Swiffer grabs the double.
Massive.
Wow, he does well to live, but Legacy, they fall down in a very awkward position. Carbon, so it looked like the junglers were meeting each other in the middle, but Carbon was on the wrong side of the map. Like, he was way out of position, and Spooks just met him, connects the body slam, which is the most important factor in that 1v1 trade, and Spooks basically won the trade. And I guess everyone else rotates, right? But who rotates quicker? Chiefs.
Well, it's also so important now because, you know, that bottom lane that's in the top side of the map, so far ahead already, could rotate earlier. As we have a look at it again, it's just the Jhin and Braum got here first.
Exactly, and most importantly, the Braum got here first. So able to flash body slam, no way for Carbon to avoid that one. Could have predicted perhaps the flash body slam and used his own flash because his cavalry did arrive. But it's a too little too late scenario as Raider just gets juked by Kadra at the end there. Cute stuff.
I like it, very cute, but unfortunately still loses one there as Chiefs are now up 3-1. See, a tier actually already picked up for Swiffer, so sort of the early game going a little bit earlier than normal. He'll stack that up nicely. Looking down though, nothing really changing here, although I do like the jungle differences there. Spooks needs that vision on the Gragas, does have the Tracker's Knife. Carbon doing the standard thing for Kindred, going for Skirmisher's Saber.
Yeah, and he's kind of just trying to place vision so that, I guess, or in this case it's Choose, but Carbon can't actually keep tabs on where the Gragas is, or the Gragas can follow Carbon around and actually watch where he's going to be, just by having what is basically 4 wards with your warding trinket and your, obviously, warding item. It's just uncomparable to that of what Carbon can place down, which is damage. So if they meet each other, you'd want to hope that Spooks is the one starting it in a better position.
Oh, and this is what we saw as well. It was Carbon sort of starting the scuffle. Like the rotational play there by the Chiefs coming out on top. But so far, it hasn't really meant too much as far as gold is concerned. 900 there as Deadly Flourish is going to get a bit of damage down to the Kindred, who's slunk into the top lane. I think slunk is a word.
It is.
I'm going to go for it.
Also face-checked a Jhin trap and got spotted immediately, so not very sneaky there. Swiper low in the bottom side though. Tally been putting in some work here. You can see he's actually building a CS lead as Spooks goes for a visit here in the mid lane. Choosing a bit of trouble perhaps. Does get locked up by the Varus ulti. Bullets in there from Swiffer, and that's a 3rd kill for Varus.
Yeah, and that was Choose actually starting it off, but Swiffer the one with the cleanse as well in the most comfortable position, and his jungler nearby to set them up as a hook in top lane.
Yeah, there it is, as Ejim is going to put down the Unbreakable Radiant, waiting for some bullets to come back as there's the stun, and Regret is going to get caught up for the moment. Kardra's still very high on health though, playing quite far forward, and look, him and Regret actually playing this out quite well after the early start by the Chiefs.
Yeah, they've actually pulled it back quite nicely considering how it started, but you would have to imagine that once Raider gets his shop in, things could change.
And that's something about Regret. He was a very well-known Thresh player. As you can see, Choose where it all went wrong there in mid. Swooping in for the ulti, didn't get it, and Spooks is there and clean up.
Unlucky, honestly, from Choose. He was the aggressor in the situation, but he just missed the execution.
I think I'd seen that before.
Yeah, I believe it was from Chief Whiffer himself.
Exactly. Taking some hints. They're the wrong ones, Choose. Once again, play back onto Ejim, taking some poke. As, oh, that was narrowly avoided there. Radier keeping himself alive. Nice spell shield there from Kardrid. Another one. So it wasn't a spell shield before. I take it all back.
Yeah, no, that was
always awkward, right?
Yeah, that's the first spell shield. Is guess who's back?
Back again?
Yeah.
I know he likes
Carbon's
top
back.
lane, but this is a different sort of top lane here.
Whoa, flash play! As Carbon is going to launch his way through. Radier, he's going to get pulled back, and Carbon's going to grab the kill.
And very well executed from Carbon, and Regret in particular this time around. The flash flay connecting on both of them from the looks of it, and the hook immediately after. Radier with no flash, he was a sitting duck. That's exactly what they make of him, and they take him out.
Well, Spook's going to go check in with the jungle now that he knows Carbon's top side. Does find that blue buff, but Choo-Choo's going to spot him. And Tally going to rotate up, means he probably has to get out of the way. Spooks, so maybe fancy initiation. He does, as he knocks Choose back there. Varus ulti, he's going to cleanse Surf out of it. Choose does well to get away there.
Yeah, it was a nice cleanse, but it doesn't mean he's in a good position in this lane at all. Up against the poke of a 3-0 Varus, you'd imagine Choose is going to recall. Thankfully, Legacy's blue buff stands.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous, though. The fact that Swiffer is already on 3 kills. I mean, we all saw it happen, right? But for a skirmish like that, already now has that serrated Dirk as well as the stacking tier. The Varus could not be feeling better right now as Tally trying to put some hurt onto Swiper, but so far this lane is neutralized. This could be trouble right now because we looked at Tally as sort of this guy that was going to win his lane or not, right?
So for what it's worth, Tally still has his teleport, Swiper does not. So he's still pressuring Swiper out, forcing lots of recalls and teleports back to even get any farm here for the Poppy. It's as expected, I will say, from Tally, who has been playing godlike, but he hasn't been able to impact anywhere else. Now's a great time.
Still charging up, though. Does have a blasting on and that Ruby Crystal. So it seems like Rod of Ages should be the first buy here. Top lane knows where all the action is Regret. He's just constantly trying to find a hook here. See if they can get something started. Radio needs him though, spacing well. Don't fall into that trap. And Chu's now actually going to go take his own blue. It is warded though. So they'll have a very good sense of the timer, but it seems like both mid laners just taking their buffs right now.
It's kind of the rise and fall of a Sivir Thresh lane. If the hook goes out and it lands, you win a trade. If the hook misses, you actually just lose control of the lane for 10 odd seconds until it's available again. But with the amount of hooks he's throwing out, definite Q max here from Regret.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And of course, we have to talk about Regret because it's his first OPL final here. Of course, his team making it without him last time around. Of course, always has been known as a massive Thresh player. Really great to see him in his first tournament on his favorite champion.
Well, Carbon, they're going to face check a ward. He's going to sweep it out, so it has that. But you can see the attention is actually not the solo lanes. It's where we thought maybe Carbon was going to look to get aggressive in. But he's, again, doing the tried and true anti-cheat strategy, which is try and camp raid here. The unfortunate thing for that one, though, is that success rate is actually not that high.
Yeah, only the one kill to speak of this time around. And you know what? I'm going to give full credit to Kardra right now. His spell shields have been immaculate. Very impressive.
Incredible. And I mean, was actually ahead in farm before Rady was able to pick up a couple there underneath the turret. So the fact that they clawed not only an awful early game back, but are now really making this lane for themselves is really working out. But of course, Carbon has given a fair bit of pressure there towards the top side.
Yeah, he's given it a fair crack, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of pressure placed there. And the Jhin Braum lane, once again, wins at level 1. Does okay at level 2, but starts to get phased out around level 3 once Sivir has all of the abilities available. In particular, the spell shield with the boomerang.
Level of pressure that's been put out in top lane is pretty extensive, though, from Legacy. This Carbon is going to clear that out. Now going to start the Dragon for himself. Did actually take the Rift Scuttler down, so gets a mark for himself. He's spotted though, nice little ward from Chiefs just to the right. They are going to see him, and I think they're trying to collapse here. Swiper
in.
He's going to move in for it. Carbon just gets absolutely destroyed. And now Dragon's angry. Chiefs are going to try and take him down as well.
Thanks for the leash.
God. Goodbye health bar.
That was ridiculous.
Slipper is 3-0. I would imagine that he's got all of the items. Level 9 as well are the biggest factor there. That means full levels into the queue, and it didn't hit anybody beforehand. So it was full damage, raw damage on top of him. Going for that Dragon. Cardred.
Yeah, actually running out of the way of the Glacial Fissure there as well towards the top side as the teleport comes in from Tally. We'll see when the Claw of Doom is going to come down, but no, Chiefs look like they've made it to safety.
That is unfortunate once again. Chiefs are just controlling the map now. 5-2 in kills. The fact that the teleport finally came out from Tally wasn't even responded to.
This wave's too small as well. Cardred actually has to just juke the Jhin ulti.
The zigzags, it works.
Yeah, good juking again from Cardred, but Legacy, I think they're trying to take this turret, and they might not even get that. They're going to prep another wave for it. Looks like the Chiefs do have to back away because Spooks is bottom side again, harassing poor Kindred.
I will say, however, Jhin should have saved his ultimate for when the wave was crashing onto the turret. It does clear minions. It doesn't just hit champions. And if Cardred wanted to hit it, well, he was about to take it. Curtain call to the face. Instead, Legacy, they do still make something of the teleporters. Let's watch the zigzag again in slow motion. Fancy feet. Oh, yeah, nailed it. Cardred very impressive so far, at least with mechanics.
Yeah, man's on point today. Of course.
Saw those weed picks.
Yeah. He's just had
He
the
had at
Tally
least
breakfast.
4 today, didn't he? Yeah.
He learned
Oh,
it from
God,
Tally.
no. If Tally had 3, the day that he went 12, 1, and 7, or whatever it was on Graves and was just murdering people, I don't want to see what 4 will do.
Any more than 4, though, it starts to crowd the bowl. You have to be careful.
Yeah, that's true. Crowd the bowl.
Well, it's awkward. You want just
I don't know,
enough
for
milk.
some reason
like-
the phrase sounded weird.
Rady returning back with the VF sword, so he was looking just fine there on the Jhin. We'll check in with the rest of the items though. Looks like Choo Choo's does have himself the Nash's Tooth built up. And looks like both AD carries are going for Essence Reaver, with Roa done for Tally and Spirit Visage done for Swiper. More of Mortius, so already done for Swiffer, could be the big one here. Is Legacy actually getting a nice little push down here? Rady is busy topside. Are Legacy going to get a second turret already?
Yeah, actually very smart rotations from Legacy, getting themselves the objectives and trying to speed the pace of this game up. Let's say more to Legacy style, and that is just constant fighting and trying to take it to the Chiefs, who are responding with vision everywhere and not a lot of actual fighting themselves.
Well, Carbon actually going to steal away the red buff here with all the extra map pressure of taking down that turret and having their bottom lane there. Things looking great here for Legacy. They've taken the gold lead just through the global objectives.
And it's been nice to see Cardred just doing a great job there on the Sivir, and Legacy playing around the champion as well. We mentioned that it's a big priority pick for these teams. You can kind of see why, because Sivir does things to creep waves and turrets that Jhin honestly just can't do. Rady is going to get this one, but that took him an eternity, it felt like. And now Legacy are just mid.
Yeah, Legacy. The rotations have been crisp from this team. Swiffer's ult's on, though.
Yeah, the tower does fall down. Immediate Sun turret to be set up here as Swiffer has to get out. Despite Choo-Choo's getting snared, doesn't seem to matter. That's the whole outer ring down.
Yeah, that's a very quick outer ring taken down, I must say. To me, it just feels weird that they were able to do that. Swiffer with a wave clear mid laner like Varus was obviously caught in rotation, which again, Chiefs have been putting a lot of emphasis on vision. You can see a ward above Carbon. Why the hell is that ward there? Carbon was bottom side for the past minute.
Well, they're going to play to this side of the map at least, because the Rift Herald seems to be the next objective. Might help them catch up in turrets, because they have fallen pretty far behind. 3-1 currently on structures. Legacy certainly taking the turret lead, and now the gold lead. And you mentioned Atlas as a result. Rady, though, going to get the buff. We'll see where he goes to apply it. Since we've done now as well, so he's certainly getting stronger after a decent start to his lane. Chiefs aren't slowing down, but Legacy, that was a really smooth way to get themselves back into the game.
Yeah, Chiefs aren't slowing down, as you mentioned. Legacy is speeding up and accelerating the game. Now that the map is completely open, and most importantly, it's something that we always allude to, is taking the middle turret against a wave clear mid laner whose purpose is, generally speaking, to not lose the mid lane turret, because that is map control that gets lost through that. Now gone, Legacy have opportunities to place deeper vision, play around the Dragon or the Rift Herald, which unfortunately the Rift Herald was taken. Dragon is up soon though. Place that deeper vision near like the red buff as an example, and then respond accordingly.
Well, you can see Swiffer now starting to do a heck of a lot of damage with that more of Malmortius picked up. Carbon is going to make his way out using that Dark Passage as Ejim getting ever more vision down. A minute and a half on that Dragon as they are actually around the pit getting some vision down. But exactly right, Legacy. I mean, it looked like they went into damage control, and they've definitely made it work. Deadly Flourish is going to snare up Regret as, the ultimate does go wide. And Curtain calls there. Regret actually going to take a bit of damage, but shields himself with the Dark Passage. Claw comes in. Tally possibly looking for it, but no, not going to find anything just yet.
Yeah, Tally looking very aggressive, and that was the poke combo out of the Chiefs, which unfortunately the chains missed from Swiffer. Otherwise, that could have been dangerous. This is something that at 16 minutes in the game is not direct kill pressure without someone else there, such as Spooks or a teleport from Swiper. But that's only going to get more and more dangerous as the game goes on, because it's something you have to be constantly vigilant about. Where is Jhin? Has Varus got ultimate? Is my cleanse available for choose in this case? And even at this point in the game, you would imagine they rotate Kardred and Regret to the middle lane and start moving around the map more seamlessly. They run the risk of being engaged on because they have no cleanse.
And Rady is back in that bottom lane, but Rift Herald's going to run out soon, and they did not get a turret or a kill with that buff. As you can see, Tally, he's back in that top lane now. Need to see Large Rod done, and he's got his teleport back up as well. His legs, or whatever's going on there, doing a lot of work for Lissandra early on. Wasn't able to make the play with his initial teleport, but they did get a turret for it. Legacy just continuing to play the map here. This is usually what Chiefs are known for. You can see the millions of pink wards. They're going to have to try and get something done here, because falling behind to Legacy on objectives is just asking them to fight you in a really awkward corridor.
Yeah, and when they've got this team comp, that is a terrifying prospect.
Yeah.
And Tally, he's well on track to exactly what Tally normally does. It's ahead by 30 CS, 20 minutes, every single game, almost without fail. Very close to it now at 23. But he's got the Rod of Ages stacking. He's got all of his stacking items. This guy wants to be a mid-game threat. He's well and truly on track.
So the thing is, and we're looking at Chiefs going now, Legacy think they can fight, and they are going to try and take it to them, at least for the Dragon.
Choose is actually going to slide himself out as Swiffer forced to use the flash. Hawk is going to go wide as Carbon explodes. Spooks picks up that kill as Swiffer now more of Malmortius procs helping him out here against Tally. A massive ultimate out of Swiper there in the back line, but Swiffer will take down Tally, and they may want more.
Just an outplay here from the Chiefs as Chew's going to get hunted down as well. Last W not going to connect, but here's the curtain call.
That was amazing.
Very nice
So
surf
cool.
from Chews, gets him out of range. Don't walk back in, he doesn't. Good work. But the Chiefs comprehensively win that fight.
And that's a small bonus in the middle of a massacre for your own team. Choose Fancy Feet is the only saving grace there, as 4 people, well, essentially 3 rather,
That was
dead.
a right angle.
Oh, it was great. Like, he bent the Azir something. He bent it like Beckham, man. Dragon, though, still something that's worth taking, as Choose wasted the dash at the start of this fight, and Swiffer, remember, he rushed to more of Malmortius. He's not going to die. There's just no way that the 2 magic damage dealers can take him out immediately. Tally's now stuck on the backline. It's not his poppy.
Swiper did so much work in that team fight as well. Like, sniped somebody with an ultimate, completely zones Tally off as he dives into the backline, and the rest of the Chiefs live. Legacy had the right idea, as that's you can see Choose again with the maneuver, but unfortunately, Chiefs just split them up and fought them perfectly in the jungle.
Yeah, you can't take the Chiefs on like that when they're set up so well. I mean, look at the vision on the map as well. That didn't really change in that fight. They just dove aggressively to try and kill Swiffer, and Swiffer's very smartly built to not be killed. And that's exactly how it unfolded.
Well, now has the Manamune there built up as well, but it means that 2 dragons have fallen in favor of the Chiefs. And they've grabbed themselves another turret for it, so Legacy still only 1 turret ahead, but it is that mid lane.
It's just the dangerous Varus. Now, he is 4-0-3 right now out of the 8 kills that the Chiefs have. That is the most dangerous poke composition coming pretty much online already for the Chiefs. The answer is engage. But you're trying to engage against the tank item Varus rather, that is so far ahead that he's still doing damage with tanky item.
And you could see that's what they tried in that last fight, but couldn't quite execute properly. We'll see if Legacy clean that up as they move deeper into this mid-game. Chiefs right now, though, just defending a lot of their structures. As you can see, Tally applying pressure topside, but Swiper able to deflect that pretty easily. Sun turret goes down, so Swiffer picks himself up a bit of extra gold. But there's not really an obvious place for Legacy to go with Baron just coming up and Dragon already down. They've already taken the standard outer turrets here to begin with, so getting deeper is very dangerous. The Chiefs have already shown that can easily disengage and poke you out.
Yeah, their aptitude to team fighting as well. Actually, twice now Carbon hasn't gotten his ultimate off because he just dies too quickly. Like, he can't even react to it. And scary start here for Legacy, even though they pulled it all back. Goldie's not too much, though.
Yeah, and as far as scaling is concerned, who really has it in this particular game? Because I'm looking over the Legacy lineup, and I'm thinking Sivir in the late game just sounds like something that's going to be so hard to deal with, not to mention Azir and Kindred. Like, what the heck?
I mean, the best way to describe this is actually like a hay bale from Legacy that just like bounce in towards your team.
I like it.
And then it turns into a Beyblade arena. The thing is, like, to actually execute on that particular team comp means you have to be next to them, right? Like, the hay bale has to bounce towards them to start it all off. Against what the Chiefs have, their scaling is more effective unless Legacy engage. I don't think one team has better scaling. It's just how they execute.
Yeah, we've seen it already. It's all about positioning here. Legacy wants to play short to medium, really in their faces, and get aggressive. Chiefs, you've already seen they're happy to play from 2 screens away, and they are going to try and take down this turret. Radiant, a few more bullets in that gun, but not enough to take the turret just yet, as Legacy are down here to respond.
You can see the 1-1-3 now erupted here from the Chiefs. Swiper hanging out here towards the top side. Tally not letting him get too close. Building towards what looks like that Zhonya's Hourglass. Item number 2. Pretty standard stuff here from the Lissandra.
The 1-1-3 doesn't actually favor the Chiefs at all. What they want is a 4-1. Because they've got a Jhin and a Varus. Like, those two want to be simultaneously poking. Because if Varus ever hits the Q, it's followed up by a root by the Jhin. And everything just breaks out. The amount of damage from 2 death by a touch as well is obnoxious.
Oh, yeah.
And they just want to siege. They want to poke. They want to stay at a long enough range that they get health bars low from Legacy, and then just commit to the all-in dive with the Gragas. So running a 1-1-3, which is essentially what they have right now, not favorable just yet, but still because they've got turrets to break, they can afford to do so.
Legacy defending their gold. Good flash from Carbon, though. Gets it out, but Regret maybe not so lucky. Going to get stunned up and ulted out by Gragas. Radiant picks up an easy one.
Yeah, wow, and that was all she wrote just there for Regret. Pretty simple execution on 2 separate fronts from Chiefs actually getting 1 flash and a kill as Hello stuck on a flank.
Yeah, Swiper Chu's actually going to manage to knock him away as he's still alive, but now Swiffer grabs it with a nice piercing arrow, and Chiefs looking to try and turn this into an inner turret. Carbon running away now as well as Kadra may get dove, does have the spell shield. See whether they can get any more.
Wow. Just careless, honestly, from Legacy. They knew there was pressure bottom. They went through their own jungle, which they didn't have warded, with 2 people on their own, and they get massively punished for it. This is what this comp does. 1 pick happens, and it just snowballs out of control.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that it's finished just yet from the Chiefs. They definitely want more. They've got Choo-Choo's dead for 15 seconds. The Varus and Jhin have grouped up, and Helipop is engaged.
Yep, see you later, Tally. As Swiper is going to get hooked. Regret looking to try and find something, but Inhibitor turret falls down. Carbon finds his way back in, but eats an arrow to the head.
Yeah.
Or knee.
To the knee.
Missed that one straight up. That was really bad. Apologize.
And
I was there for you.
Like, Legacy have rushed a more of Malmortius on the Kindred. Look at who's dealing damage on the team of the Chiefs. I'm not going to say it's magic damage, primarily. It's a Jhin and it's a Varus. That's
Wait,
physical.
who's doing magic damage?
Gragas. Poppy?
Yeah, that's not
Death
a lot
by
of
a
it.
touch?
There's like amounts of magic damage there. It's a primary to secondary is the question, right? So rushing the more, it's a very efficient item, but I'm still going to challenge that because he has no health against physical damage dealers who have armor penetration right now. especially in Swiffer.
Oh, who now almost has the Ghost Blade completed as well. So a lot of extra cooldown reduction now on the way for the Varus.
And the Muramana.
Yeah, transform already, and that is really early for a Varus. You don't stack it as quickly as the likes of an Ezreal.
Yeah. Reasonably quick. 20 minutes is where you're aiming for.
He has.
So,
I feel like he's had it for a couple of minutes.
well, when he was 2-0 at like 4 minutes in the game, I think he got a pretty quick one there.
Yeah, it's true. Pretty quick, anyway.
As far as tiers go, it's up there.
Well, Chiefs just going to keep applying pressure with Poppy. Swiper going to slap this turret down with the lollipop, and that's dead. With 2 dragons, going to make it even easier there. You can see Legacy, they're trying to make a play together around the center of the map, but Chiefs have been very good at stifling any attempt for Legacy to get in and engage on them. And Chiefs now with a wide open space to play around in mid lane, don't have to really worry too much. All they have to do is play back and keep playing the map.
Swiper now as well, more than comfortable here towards the bottom side against Tally. Tally not necessarily on the normal split-pushing powerhouse that he often sits on. See whether he can get into these team fights as this game progresses. It's only 5,000 the lead for the Chiefs at the moment. Still anyone's game right now. No inhibitor to fall down in the mid lane despite the base being relatively broken.
Yeah, a lot of these engages actually come down to summoner spells, so you'll see a very period of walls, never mind.
So I think Choose is going to be okay. I believe it was Cardred that actually had to flash away.
Yes, he took a lantern.
Oh, okay.
Lantern away,
There we
exactly.
go.
Yeah, so
Slightly
Legacy.
off screen.
Once again, I was about to mention summoner spells. Gragas couldn't have followed that up because there is no flash body slam available to him. Almost there though. So need to show some respect here, Legacy. Swiffer also having no flash could be a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the way that the teams coordinate, summoner spells is a massive ordeal and they need to have them available. I'm surprised there hasn't been distortion upgrades as Tally's in.
Yeah, he is actually, but they saw him with the Gin Trap. Raider going to get chased down, but a good snare is going to get him out safely. Chiefs also picked up the Dragon after their attempt at a pick in mid lane, so Legacy, they'll take what they can. Don't get Raider, don't get the Dragon, but they'll collect the blue and posture around Baron, but it seems like it's just continued vision around the area as Swiper's back in bottom side, causing himself a nuisance.
And he most certainly is. Little Poppy. Looks adorable. Isn't. Just flat out isn't.
That's a lollipop though.
Yeah, I know.
This is the best Poppy skin, by the way.
It is. Used to be
this
a
went
whole
from
lot more bad.
This went from like intense nightmare fuel to actually the best thing ever. Every time someone dies to a golden chocolate bar, I lose it. It's just the best.
There is a fine line with a lollipoppy skin though, isn't there? You have to be very careful.
Don't even. Now it's Lulu with the scariest skin.
Yeah.
Oh.
That is, nightmares are made of that.
Yeah, it's not okay. Not okay at all. As Carbon and Spooks eyeing each other off here across the river. Spooks having a swim at the moment, as you can see. But Ward's dying off here for the Chiefs. You saw it was a Christmas tree earlier on. Do need to reward up the map, and we'll see whether they're going to be able to do so or where they're going to be putting their focus now, as it's looking like it's delving more towards the top side.
Yeah, so the cool thing, I did just touch on summoner spells. Swiffer and Raider both don't have their flashes. They're the two targets, the priority targets that Legacy want to take down. Tally's ready to go. I think there's an opportunity here for Legacy
got
to...
an elixir.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity to push back and, I guess, give it to the Chiefs now for Legacy.
Time to force.
Nice
Agent's going to get hooked up there. He's going to flash in, but Regret's actually taking a little too much burst. Massive ulti out from Raider as they have to walk through the Braum ulti. And this is not quite enough. Swiffer's ulti not going to connect, but Choose barely going to miss getting sniped.
Wow, and even the heal out of Cardred is a safety measure to keep him alive. This coordination out of Legacy isn't entirely there in this first game, as here comes a big minion to help Swiper. And that's actually 3 dragons, so the speed that a tank takes down turrets is exponentially increased by level. Swiper is destroying.
Well, Carbon actually has to run away here. Doesn't have the ultimate, but he's going to get saved there by the Maw of Malmortius. Swiper now inside the enemy base, not necessarily where he wants to be, although he doesn't seem too worried.
I think he's happy, actually.
Yeah, he's just chilling. He's going to get the
Tally's in
heroic
trouble.
charge. Yeah, Tally may actually be, as he does have the Zhonya's. Buckler is going to get picked up. An extra shield, but meanwhile, Chiefs.
Tally's dead.
Oh my god, and Swiper barely even lost any health. Carbon, speaking of low health, barely has any himself as Chiefs
Wow.
peel off the Baron. They may just go back to it.
So they did well to push the Chiefs off the Baron, given what had just happened to them in the bottom lane. They do get to respond to that. Very, very unlucky for the Chiefs, but well played from Legacy to force them off.
Well, Ejim going to get hooked as well. That's the pick. Shoes is going to lock it down. Curtain call comes in. Regret might be in trouble. He's going to have to put on his fancy feet. One more. Nope, not going to happen. Regret says,
no, Deathfire touch.
Damn it, Deathfire touch. You are a jerk.
Strikes again. And of course, all it took was one spell to connect. The first one is enough to take him out.
The rest were for show.
Yeah, well, they were kind of for show. Bottom lane turret was broken by Swiper, meanwhile. And once again, the gold lead is creeping up further and further. The control on this map as well. And it wasn't even Swiper's promoted minion, it was Ejim's. Speaking of the devil.
This just did so much damage.
Whoop. Yeah, it's the Varus.
No, I missed him.
Sorry.
The other bullet hit, though, and he just dies.
Okay.
Bleh.
So, yeah. 2 kills. Yeah. Two Deathfire touches. Now spaced well enough to actually get the full duration.
Ah, strategically missed the
yeah,
middle one.
Absolutely. A single target, of course, with the Keystone Mastery is 4 seconds, whereas hitting an AoE spell is 2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we can see why the poke champions on the Chiefs side have it, because that's an absurd amount of damage.
And given his current AD, which is 335, it's probably doing like 100 bonus.
That's without the Infinity Edge even built up yet.
Uh-huh. Jin's a funny champion like that.
Yeah, funny? Terrifying?
Quaint.
Pretty good. We'll call it.
We'll go with that. But as the dust settles, 3,000 gold. Actually, 7,000 gold for lead. If the Chiefs. As I'm just questioning everything I'm saying. It's like, you call it 3,000, you know that something's going wrong here. As Swiffer able to clear out the mid lane, and they move back towards this Baron. Cardred able to clear up these minion waves very, very effectively. As Seder Devourer is done for Carbon. As Spooks is going to get hooked. Doing some damage now as Gragas is not afraid of anything.
Yeah, he doesn't afraid of anything at the moment. Carbon sated though, so he will be doing a lot of damage. And I think Legacy are starting to get, I guess, more and more confident and desperate simultaneously. Because the gold lead's bleeding out of control, but they're starting to get those items where the relative gold difference is less.
They really just need a team fight, but the Chiefs have just not been giving them one. And unfortunately right now, given all the poke that's happened, pretty much Legacy tried a few times, failed, and the Chiefs have gotten ahead. It just means that the fight gets harder and harder. Like, yes, the Chiefs have to be careful, because if there's ever a time where you lose a game, it's to Legacy when they know they have to pull the trigger and try something. But with the way they're executing right now, Swiper's actually almost going to take this by himself. Does Legacy have to respond?
And Chiefs aren't even doing Baron, they're pushing the other lanes.
Inhibitor already taking a few shots, as you can see Poppy moving back towards that bottom side. Swiper just being ever more frustrating as Carbon going to answer it. Takes a fair bit of damage to Swiper, but goes back in, sees what he can find. Ejim going to get hooked up one more time. Nice use of the Unbreakable, stands behind a minion. Actually, one of his teammates. That's an enemy minion, as they may actually just lose this inhibitor. The Sand Soldier's not really going to be able to help as Spooks. He's going to get caught. Could this be the engage? Nope.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Swiffer going to throw out the ultimate, though, as Carbon knocked against the wall, but there's the ultimate. Radier, though, picks up the kill on Regret, and Choo-Choo's is going to go down. Carbon, the last man is Cardred, and they not going to find him, but they're going to find the rest of the base here of Legacy. This is ludicrous.
That is 3 people dead for a very long time. The Chiefs in this first game up against Legacy looking to close it out.
His team comp is gross. It looks like Tally going to go in and try and save what he can. He's going to get stunned up. He does pop the Zhonya's, though, to keep himself alive for a little while longer. Tally, he might be able to save it, but I don't think he can. Swiper's going to tie him up. Radier going to take him out. The ace will be completed, and Chiefs will claim the Nexus for game number 1.
Completely ridiculous from the Chiefs. Just from that early snowball, the 3-0-0 Varus, and the Chiefs were just able to take over. I mean, Legacy did a decent job picking up turrets and trying to make their way back towards that early game, but it's just all Chiefs as the game went on.
A 17-3 kill score victory for the Chiefs. They couldn't kill the mid laner. They could not kill Swiffer. Someone that has been coined, I guess, as the average player who gives them the fake water or the placebo effect. Well, he's doing his part in this final.
It's just so crazy because I think what stat we don't get from that scoreline is number of kills attempted by Legacy, and there were a lot of them, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that they tried so many times to get an engage on, and the kills they got in that game were 3, it just shows that Chiefs comp, they played it well on offense and defense. It's disgusting. Varus Jhin is just amazing, and they played it perfectly.
And that's the best thing that I was going to say as well. We saw it work in the semifinals against Sin. We've seen it now. Pretty obvious that you don't want to give them those champions.
Yeah, and the slight change with the Gragas there for the disengage was beautiful as well. But we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down the first game of the grand final.
Thank you so much, Atlas. Game 1 does go over the Chiefs, but it wasn't without a fight. Legacy trying to hit back. throughout the early game with some very clever map rotations. However, with a lot of things, we go back to the pick ban phase. I do want to hit on it a little bit. Jish has obviously prepared his team
a lot of it.
very well because that was pretty beautiful.
Yeah, no, I'm of the opinion that that is probably one of the best compositions that we've seen in professional play. Like, I watch a lot of the EULCS and the LPL and obviously the OPL. That is an amazing comp, and I talked about it on Twitter. It's super cool.
So what makes it cool?
Okay, so what's really cool about this comp, because we were talking about this, so first and foremost, your priority pick is going to be Poppy. Okay, that's weird. They've been priority picking Sivir and Azir. Why would they prioritize Poppy? That doesn't make sense. Okay, and then next rotation it's Gragas. Oh, disengage champions. Those are the two best disengages in the game. The only way that composition gets worse to play against is if Janna comes out. Then you're like, I'm never touching that. Then you go into so you see this, the Azir and the Sivir come out. And you're like, okay, well, then you just have to counterplay that. What counters Azir? Varus. Varus counters Azir. Okay, that's fine. You have the answer there. Sivir, just go 2v2 her. Make sure that you get the aggressive champion. So it's going to be Jhin. Jhin works really well with Varus. You have two very low mobility AD carries, plus two of the best disengages in the game in Poppy and Gragas, and then you take Braum. That's why you don't have Janna. You have Braum because you know that you're playing Varus, you know that you're playing Jhin. You need to make sure that you have the Unbreakable so you can't stop the long-range poke coming out. So like on every single level, that composition counters everything that Legacy wanted to do. Everyone talks about the golden combo of Azir and Sivir, and true, those are two of the most oppressive champions in the game right now, but Jhin and Varus counter them respectively, and the only way to beat them is to play Maokai. Like, that's the answer. Maokai or Nautilus. And Legacy, don't play it.
Yep, and this is the second time we've seen this team composition from the Chiefs as well. They played it in their final game of the semi-finals, and they played it really well. It was devastating. It was one of the games where actually Sin were doing really well, and they were not able to close out because of this team composition that Chiefs picked up. And it worked really well in that game as well. They were able to get ahead very early on the top side of the map, where both the AD carries and supports were, and Swiper and Tally in the bottom lane just farmed it out. Seemed like Tally had a small CS lead down there, but that lane was just isolated for an extended amount of time. Ended up with Swiper coming out on top because he is that Poppy and was able to solo kill him, just relieving pressure all over the map for the Chiefs.
As you see, the pick bands down on the bottom of your screen.
Ban.
The Nautilus ban, I do want to actually, so the thing is, and I agree, this is a good draft, but so many times in League of Legends I've been like, that team got a great draft, and then they get onto Summoner's Rift and they just mess it all up, right? Execution isn't there. But we mentioned, Spooks, this is your opportunity to step up and prove that you are a very, very good jungler within the OPL. And I think that the early pace of this game very much was dictated by Spooks, because if you didn't see his jungle routing, he went camp, major buff, and then went straight to Rift Scuttlers. We've been talking the fact that if you control vision in the river, you control carbon, and I believe that that is what ultimately won them that early game.
Yeah, and this is the really cool thing about the composition too. The Chiefs make sure that they get standard lanes against Legacy, which normally throughout the OPL you're like, that's absolute
suicide.
Death.
Yeah,
don't do that. But again, it's because they know that they got the 1v1 individual matchups. You got the Jhin into the Sivir, which is going to win the 2v2, and then you got the Varus into the Azir. So they get control of their lanes early, which allows Carbon to make that jungle route and say, okay, if we take control of the Rift Scuttler, then I shut down Carbon. But likewise, if someone tries to challenge me, because my laners are in control, they're going to get the early rotation. That's exactly what happened. The execution came down, 4 early kills for Chiefs, and they snowballed from there. Swiffer was massive.
The icing on the cake was shutting down Carbon. The lanes already set up nicely for Chiefs. Once you shut down their jungler as well, there's no way to facilitate Legacy getting back into that game.
Well, and that is exactly what happened. However, guys, with that in mind,